An illiterate teenage peasant girl claimed God told her to save France, convinced a desperate king to give her an army, and turned the tide of the 100 Years' War before being burned alive at 19. This is the story of Joan of Arc. Jeanne d'Arc was born around 1412 in Domrémy, a small village in northeastern France. Her father Jacques was a tenant farmer. She grew up during one of the darkest periods of the 100 Years' War, when English and Burgundian forces occupied much of northern France. At age 13, Joan began experiencing visions and hearing voices she identified as Saints Michael, Catherine, and Margaret. They told her to drive the English from France and bring the Dauphin Charles to Reims for coronation. She kept her visions secret for nearly 4 years. In 1428, 17-year-old Joan convinced a local garrison commander to provide an escort to the Dauphin Charles at Chinon. After initially being mocked, she reportedly identified the disguised Charles among his courtiers and told him a secret that only God could know, gaining his attention. Joan was examined by theologians at Poitiers for 3 weeks. They found nothing heretical in her claims and recommended the Dauphin employ her. She was given a suit of white armor, a banner, and a small household. She declared that the siege of Orléans must be lifted first. On April 29, 1429, Joan arrived at the besieged city of Orléans. The English had held the city under siege for 7 months. Within 9 days of her arrival, Joan led French assaults that captured key English fortifications. On May 8th, the English abandoned the siege entirely. It was a stunning reversal. After Orléans, Joan led a swift campaign through the Loire Valley, winning battles at Jargeau, Meung-sur-Loire, Beaugency, and a decisive victory at Patay on June 18, 1429. At Patay, the French cavalry destroyed the English longbowmen before they could deploy, shattering English field superiority. On July 17, 1429, Charles VII was crowned King of France at Reims Cathedral, with Joan standing beside him holding her banner. The coronation fulfilled her stated divine mission and legitimized Charles's claim to the throne. Joan reportedly wept with joy during the ceremony. After the coronation, Joan's military fortunes declined. An attack on Paris in September 1429 failed. Charles VII increasingly listened to court advisors who were suspicious of Joan. Her requests for troops were denied or delayed. The political momentum she had created began to stall. On May 23, 1430, Joan was captured during a skirmish at Compiègne by Burgundian troops. She attempted to escape twice, once leaping from a 70-foot tower. Charles VII made no attempt to ransom or rescue her. The Burgundians sold her to the English for 10,000 livres. The English arranged for Joan to be tried by a church court in Rouen on charges of heresy. Bishop Pierre Cauchon, a Burgundian loyalist, presided. The trial began in January 1431. Joan, illiterate and without legal counsel, faced dozens of educated theologians determined to find her guilty. Throughout her trial, Joan showed remarkable composure and quick wit. When asked if she was in a state of grace, she famously replied, "If I am not, may God put me there. If I am, may God keep me there." The transcript reveals a young woman of extraordinary intelligence under impossible pressure. The court focused on Joan's wearing of men's clothing and her claim that her visions came directly from God without church mediation. Under threat of immediate execution, she briefly signed a recantation. When she resumed wearing men's clothing days later in prison, she was declared a relapsed heretic. On May 30th, 1431, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in the Old Market Square of Rouen. She was approximately 19 years old. She reportedly asked for a crucifix to be held before her eyes and called out the name of Jesus repeatedly as the flames rose. An English soldier who witnessed her death declared, "We are lost. We have burned a saint." Joan's ashes were scattered in the Seine River to prevent her grave from becoming a site of pilgrimage. Yet her death galvanized French resistance rather than crushing it. The war she helped turn continued, and by 1453, France had expelled the English from all continental territory except Calais. In 1456, a retrial ordered by Pope Calixtus III examined the original proceedings. The court declared Joan innocent and the original trial fraudulent and illegal. Joan was proclaimed a martyr, and her judges were posthumously condemned for conducting a biased, politically motivated prosecution. Joan's military achievement was remarkable by any standard. In less than a year of active campaigning, she transformed a demoralized French army into an offensive force, lifted the pivotal siege of Orléans, and secured the coronation that united France behind a single king. On May 16, 1920, Pope Benedict XV canonized Joan of Arc as a saint of the Roman Catholic Church. She became one of France's patron saints alongside Saint Denis and Saint Therese of Lisieux. Her feast day is celebrated on May 30th, the anniversary of her execution. Joan of Arc has become a universal symbol of courage, faith, and national identity. She has been claimed by movements across the political spectrum, depicted in countless paintings, books, plays, and films, and remains one of the most studied figures of the medieval period. Joan of Arc's story remains one of history's most extraordinary. A peasant girl who changed the course of a war and the fate of a nation in barely over a year of public life. If you found this biography valuable, please subscribe for more educational content, and thank you for watching.